Did you know that there is a scientific reason why you tend to focus on the negative? That's right, you are not a negative Nelly. So today I'm going to explain why we tend to focus on the negative and what you can do about it. Stick around. Okay, so let's talk about negative Nancy's. If that's you and you often wonder like, oh, why do I do that? Why do I tend to focus on the negative? Let me tell you, you're not alone, and that is a human pattern. I'm going to explain why we do that. All right, so first I want you to think back to like cave people days. And yes, I'm using a gender neutral term on purpose. Okay, think back to cave people days, right? When our physical safety was constantly in danger, right? We could be eaten by a tiger, we could be swept away by a flash flood, right? But we were always constantly being threatened in terms of our physical safety. So back then, it was very helpful to pay attention to negative things and threats to survival above everything else. That was a mechanism that the human brain developed as a way to protect itself. Let me give you an example. If you are standing out in nature like I am here, and let's say there's 100 sounds going on around you, right? You can hear the river babbling behind you, you can hear ice kind of cracking in certain places, you can hear leaves blowing, you can hear the wind, right? There's 100 sounds around you, and your brain's kind of hearing them all, right? If you hear a twig snap behind you, your brain instantly pays attention to that sound, not the other 99, right? What your brain's doing in that moment is giving the threat to survival greater attention than everything else. And that is what kept people alive, running so they were safe and not eaten by the lion. So what happened is over time as humans have evolved, we've really held on to this concept, right? Focusing on threats to safety and giving them more attention than anything else. Most of us, not all, but most of us in the world do not have to worry about our physical safety on a daily basis. I'm not worried about being eaten by a bear, swept away by a flash flood, or my, hut collapsing in on me. But what we've done is we've translated that concept on focusing on threats to safety. We've translated that to threats to our emotional safety. If I think someone is going to hurt me emotionally, if I'm worried someone's going to betray me or abandon me, if they're going to talk bad about me, if they're going to gossip, if I might try for a promotion and get turned down, right? So now what our brain is doing is it's focusing on these threats to our emotional safety, giving them greater attention because our brain thinks that's protecting us. But here's the deal. The theory doesn't hold up for emotional safety like it used to for physical safety. Okay? It doesn't work. It doesn't help you anymore. But as humans, we are wired and we are programmed to do that. And when something works for us, we tend to hold on tight and continue it. So here's the good news though. You can reprogram your brain with what it pays attention to. And hello, this is like the whole premise of my site basically, right? It's why we talk about gratitude so much and choosing to see the good. It's why in videos I've talked about approaching your anxiety like a scientist. It's why we work on mindfulness, right? It's about retraining our brain to focus on all of the things that are there, not just the negative or these threats that we are sort of over exaggerating in our head. So if you do that, if you tend to focus on the negative, hi, you're a human, me too, nice to meet you. But the good news is you don't have to continue to do that. There are so many strategies on my website, drallisonanswers.com, for how you can retrain your brain to see everything, particularly some of the good stuff in your life, so that those little negatives and those threats don't totally take over. You can also find me on social media, all that good jazz. And if you're watching this on YouTube, of course you can subscribe so you will be the first person to be notified of new videos. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you'll have an amazing rest of the week. Take care.